Hello, everyone. Before we discuss anything else this semester in Introduction to Literature for Harrisburg Area Community College, I'd like to talk to you about the poem that is included at the beginning of the syllabus. I chose to include this poem there for several reasons, and we'll talk about them in this video. If for any reason you'd like to follow along with a transcript of this video, or if you prefer just to read it rather than watching the video, there is a transcript in the content folder of our D2L course. So what I'd like you to do is to stop rushing through the computer, if that's what you're doing, thinking about all of the things you need to do, working to complete them, fearing what you might be getting into with this literature course. Forget all of that and just take a moment to read this poem and to explore literature. If you can go outside and sit on the grass while you watch this video, better yet, go ahead and hit pause and start it again whenever the natural world is around you. Okay, let's get started. Verse 1 of Song of Myself by Walt Whitman, originally published in 1855, but then it was revised several times over roughly the next 25 years. Again, this is only the first verse, and the poem is much, much longer. So here we're simply getting an introduction to the poem and an introduction to the course. If you have your syllabus in front of you, please go ahead and read along. I celebrate myself and sing myself, and what I assume, you shall assume, and for every atom belonging to me, as good belongs to you. I loaf and invite my soul. I lean and loaf at my ease, observing a spear of summer grass. My tongue, every atom of my blood, formed from the soil, this air, born here of parents, born here from parents the same, and their parents the same. I, now 37 years old, in perfect health begin, hoping to seize not until death. Creeds and schools in abeyance, retiring back a while sufficed at what they are, but never forgotten. I harbor for good or bad. I permit to speak at every hazard, nature without check, with original energy. So do you understand it? Instantly? Every word? Not so much. If that's the case, that's okay. I understand that students tend to have apprehension when it comes to interpreting literature, but we'll talk more about that as we analyze this poem. I'm going to go through the poem line by line and discuss Whitman's meaning and an interpretation of this poem that is relevant to the class. That is the unique aspect of literature. Not everybody agrees on this, but the author or poet might have had a specific meaning with the work, and while we'll attempt to understand that meaning, literature also belongs to readers as much as, if not more than, it belongs to its creators. Therefore, your interpretation of the literature we read in this class is certainly valid. So, to begin, first, who was Walt Whitman? Whitman was an American poet who had tended to wounded soldiers during the Civil War. In that capacity, he saw the horrors of war, but he decided to celebrate the beauty of nature and of life in much of his poetry, including the text Leaves of Grass, which includes Song of Myself. So let's look at the first stanza. I celebrate myself and sing myself, and what I assume, you shall assume, for every atom belonging to me, as good belongs to you. What do you think when you read this? You know, many readers believe that Whitman's introduction is egocentric, that he's celebrating himself because he's so wonderful. But Whitman's approach is much humbler than that. In this poem, he's planning to celebrate himself, but as part of a larger whole. He promotes togetherness and shared experiences and ideas when he says what he assumes in the poem, the reader should also assume. He's not using the term as it relates to talking about assuming things as in believing them. He's using the term as it relates to experiences. He plans to write the poem so well that you will experience every detail along with him. Do you see the effort at togetherness? So the last line of the stanza, the first stanza, might promote togetherness more than any other. He writes, "For every atom belonging to me as good belongs to you." Everything that Whitman is, his very atoms, could as easily belong to you as they do to him. He's promoting a sense of togetherness and American pride as well. The second stanza continues Whitman's invitation to explore with him. He is loafing, relaxing, and he is inviting his soul. What does that mean, the soul? You might all have different interpretations of the soul, but in this discussion, I'll view the soul as the innermost being of humankind. It's the elevated sense of self. It's the ultimate part of oneself. Whitman holds his soul in high esteem and invites it on a journey to knowledge and a journey to self-exploration. He notes that he will observe a spear of summer grass. But what is grass? Is it something you have to cut each week? Something that is soft beneath your feet? What is one single spear of summer grass? Well, to Whitman, it is a symbol for nature. Remember that he is celebrating himself. He is celebrating you. He's celebrating America. He's celebrating a spear of grass as it connects to all of the above. In the third stanza, Whitman notes that his tongue and his blood were formed from the soil and the air. Again, a connection to nature. He talks of his parents, his heritage to the land. He notes he is 37 years old and in perfect health as he begins this journey to knowledge and self-exploration. I want to talk about this for a minute because it does not matter where you are in your life, your teens, your 20s, your 30s, you get the picture. Whether you're healthy or experiencing some family or life difficulty, whether you work full-time or a single parent or expecting a child during the semester, whoever you are in this moment, this is where you begin. You begin this course in studying literature with me and your classmates. We're all beginning together. We're joining each other for this journey, which is what Whitman was talking about. He would be so proud, especially if you're sitting on the grass. Even better, Whitman would be proud if you plan to undertake this journey to knowledge and self-exploration long after this video ends, and the course ends, and you graduate. Whitman will not cease his journey until death, and he is asking the same of you. If that sounds too daunting, just commit to watching the end of this video and we'll take it from there. Finally, let's talk about the journey in our course. Whitman asks you to suspend your creeds and schools in the fourth stanza. But what does that mean? Well, you all have beliefs from your cultures, your upbringing, your religions, and so on. And Whitman is asking you to suspend them for this journey. Don't forget them completely, as that would be impossible, but be open to other ideas, even if those ideas might disagree with your creeds. Don't limit your ideas for fear that they might be bad. Permit yourselves to speak at every hazard or without limitation. Of course, we will be respectful of each other and everyone's ideas in our learning environment, but it is acceptable to disagree with each other and to disagree with me. You're encouraged to share your interpretations of the literature we read without fear that they might be wrong. Nature without check. Nothing held back. As we search for the original energy, as Whitman refers to it in this journey, or something more about literature, or about stories, or about people, or about ourselves. Hopefully you have a better sense of what Whitman meant with these words than when we started this video. If not, maybe watch it again. He was embarking on a journey in Song of Myself, and he wanted you to join him. In the same way, I view this course as a journey. It's not about me celebrating myself and you agreeing with everything I have to say, or you celebrating yourself, but about us inviting our souls to experience literature and to think about how we connect with others. How are our ideas similar? How are they different? Let's leave any preconceived notions about what we think literature is, or how we have to read it, or what it should mean. Leave that all behind us. Feel free to share your ideas without fear that they're wrong. Don't hold back and commit to making this journey for the whole semester. I'm sure it will be a good one. Thanks, guys.